Welcome to That's Football. We're live, just live for kickoff. Quick turnover from the Manchester United game. Sponsored by OneFootball. Please do download the app. The link's in the video description for that. We'll be using the stats for that. Manchester City away to Arsenal. Arsenal, look, United have blown it. Spurs fancy it. That top four race is still on. You're going to have to get something today. United did it last week and we've been dreadful today, so you just never know from an Arsenal point of view. Can they get the result today? Very interested to see if they can do it. But what are your thoughts? Arsenal versus Manchester City. Have they got what it takes to get the result today? Give us your thoughts in the live comments. We will be talking about the afternoon results as well. Good result for Tottenham. Mourinho obviously smelling blood against his old club next week. This time next week it's Chelsea versus Spurs and an opportunity to get into the top four. But Arsenal on the attack here at the moment, and an early goal would certainly cause problems, and it nearly was a goal. Martinelli, he looks a player, doesn't he? Good chance there, and it's not quite gone in. It's a good save by Ederson, but a fast start by Arsenal. And we know, the one thing we know about Manchester City is they will give you opportunities on the break. Share it. Please do share the link. We've only just gone live, so I've just got to tweet out and do a couple of things as well. But Man City will need to and want to get a hold of this game quite quickly and not let it slip away from them like it did with United in that first half. Look, Liverpool are going to win the league. I don't think that's going to change anything. I'm more interested in the race for top four at the moment. But nice little ball in there to the box. Clever little ball. And Man City 1-0. What a finish by De Bruyne. You've got to say that is class. Absolutely superb finish. Cutback class. Very hard technique there to put that in the back of the net. And it is 1-0 to Manchester City. It's a slide rule pass from Fernandinho. He comes out of the back four, slips it through into, I think it's Jesus with the back cross. Comes to De Bruyne, and the technique, because it does bounce up in front of him. I'm telling you what, it's absolutely superb. It's an absolutely superb finish from De Bruyne. Gabriel Jesus with the cutback to the edge of the box. It bounces in front of him, and he just smacks through it. The technique, side of the foot, 1-0. No messing around, and that is not what Arsenal wanted. It's exactly what Manchester City wanted. It's 1-0. It's 1-0, and it's a fantastic goal by De Bruyne. I don't like to say it, but the technique on that is absolutely superb, and it's 1-0, and Arsenal are 1-0 down already. Good job. Good job I was live in time. I was a little bit worried that I might miss the first 5 minutes. Pretty important. But then, from Arsenal's point of view, Martinelli with that chance early on. I say early on, we're only 2.5 minutes into this game and it's already 1-0. But Arsenal will get chances on the break. But that finish from Martinelli is absolutely superb. From De Bruyne, sorry, not Martinelli. That wasn't so superb because he didn't score. I am changing the score, don't worry. Just a few things I've got to get up and running here. De Bruyne, though, I mean, look, whatever you think about De Bruyne, I would argue that he is the best midfielder in the Premier League. Just fantastically consistent with goals and assists, puts a shift in as well. A delightful player and a delightful goal, and it's exactly what Arsenal will not have wanted early on in a game. They probably would have been encouraged by that chance from Martinelli and thought, you know what, today could be our day. But quality shone through there, and I think that's what you don't want as an Arsenal fan today. Is you don't want the quality to be the problem. You want City to have an off day like they did against United. Well, it doesn't look like they're going to. A little bit of a break for Arsenal here, but nothing comes of it. But Arsenal have got to keep their heads. There will be opportunities. There will be the chance to exploit what is a weak defence for Manchester City, and they've got to stay in the game. But I didn't even get a chance to say my score prediction, so I am helped by the fact that Man City have scored. But my score prediction today was 3-1 to Manchester City. So I don't think City will lose 2 games in a row. And the problem with the one thing I wanted to say before was that the problem Arsenal have got is that United's defence isn't terrible. United's defence is actually quite good. So Arsenal don't have that. And that's a problem. When your defence isn't that good against a team that is going to relentlessly attack you, that can be an issue. And I think it will be an issue for Arsenal today. I think they'll concede more than one. But it is 1-0. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. We're trying to get up to 108,000 subscribers today. I'm going to come back to the live comments now because I've been a little bit changing scores and that. And we've had a super chat coming here from Jay Singh. He says, we might not be able to beat Everton, but hey-ho, it could be worse. We could be Arsenal. Beating City isn't for everyone. Says Jay Singh. I'll tell you what, you've got over it a little bit quicker than I have. Sorry, the timer is on, but I've not turned it on. So let me turn it on for you. There you go. We're not 54 minutes in. What's going on? That's ridiculous. We're not. Stop. Resets. Let me get this going for you. Right. 05. 40. Start. Sorry about that, people. A lot of people talking about the timer. Right. I need my drink anyway. United do drive you to drink, to be honest with you. What's happening with Lindelof, says Jay Singh. I thought Lindelof did okay for United today. I've got to be absolutely honest and say that I didn't really have a massive problem with him, but some people obviously did. Arsenal on the attack, and it's not a corner. They could have done with that going for a corner. So fast starts. Manchester City leading 1-0. Lovely finish to Bruyne from Gabriel Jesus' cut back, and United will be somewhat... Arsenal will be somewhat annoyed by that, but it is what it is. City just dictating the play at the moment, which is what you would expect. I do want to give a shout out to Spurs today as well. It's a good result against Wolves, who are quite high up in the league themselves. And to win that game late on, Mourinho obviously suffered that disappointment of that United result, but he's above them. He's above them already. So it just shows you consistency will always outdo individual results. And this is something that Manchester United are struggling with week in and week out. This inconsistent problem that Manchester United have is becoming a real issue, and it's going to undermine everything they try to achieve this season, I'm afraid. But Arsenal have got to get a foothold in this game quick, otherwise it's going to be over very fast. And another good cross coming in there, and I think it was Sterling on the back post nearly getting involved in that. But now it's Arsenal coming away with Martinelli, forcing his way into the starting lineup today. Good cross, palmed away from Ederson and wide by Pepe. And it's deflected out for a throw-in. Arsenal. It's going to be a very, very fast-paced game today. It's going to be very, very fast indeed. Both teams like to play football. Man City play it far, far better than Arsenal do. But Martinelli, I like the look of that Martinelli. I know he plays for Arsenal, but I do like the look of him. I think he's a decent player. And I think he's got an interesting future at Arsenal. Ten minutes in. Tommy says, how did McTominay get a 6? I thought it was average today. 6 is an average score. I thought it was average. I mean, I think people think 6 is like, oh God, he was average. Like, average is like you did your job. I didn't think it was any better than an average performance. I I don't think people understand that 6 average doesn't mean you've had a bad game. 5 means you've had a bad game. 6 means you've done what would be expected of you. We would all expect a little bit more. Thoughts on what Ben Foster did for the elderly fan? I don't know what he did, Bill Hemmett, but it sounds like it was good. And Kai Boo says, in my opinion, Pep wouldn't be top flight manager if he didn't look out managing Barca, because Pep needs the best players in a competition to win a competition. He also requires very specific players, a luxury he can't get at a starter club. And I think there's something very true in that. Zayn Miassi says this is a joke. It's not a joke, it's reality. It's not over yet, though. I mean, that Man City defence can be got at. But I do like that point about Pep Guardiola. I'd love to see Pep Guardiola come to Manchester United or go to Chelsea or Arsenal and see what he could do with limited resources and tight owners. Mikel Arteta sat there. I wonder if he's thinking, I could have this job, which you could. Liam Grogan says he wants Arsenal to win, but he just can't see them losing 2 in a row. Anything's possible with City with that back four. I think that they are gettable, but Arsenal, they've got to defend well. Which isn't always easy to do. What did people think about that VAR thing today? Now I've calmed down a bit. I really, we'll probably get some VAR in this because we seem to get it every game, but I know the neutral's going to say, definitely wasn't a foul, but I can't, I don't want to use it as an excuse because United were really bad today, but I just don't get why the VAR didn't give a foul when he clearly doesn't touch the ball, but his hand impedes De Gea in the face. I just think, really shocking. Maybe there's been a change in the rule. Mad 619 Mitch says, will they keep Ljungberg, Mark? I don't know what Arsenal's plan is. I mean, Ancelotti's available. Alexander Lovenbach says, moan, time to take 2 seconds and give it a rest first, people. Yes, we're not good enough against low teams, but let the man get a transfer or 2 first. There you go. Ollie Pro person, there you go. You're not going to get a seal of approval on that. I totally disagree with you, but I respect your opinion. Well done for having one. And wasn't a foul, says Josh Gilmore, but that doesn't help me. With all due respect, Josh, I'd like to know why it's not a foul, because every time I've seen it, it's a foul. Fawaz Yazin says it was a foul, but it didn't look like it affected De Gea. If it was Liverpool, VAR would have given the foul. And Mr. Dip says, I'm a Liverpool fan and I thought it was a foul. You know what? It doesn't matter what team it is, whether it's United, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool. If I saw that on their goalkeeper, I would have thought they were going to give a foul, because I've grown up with referees protecting goalkeepers. So I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest. Mark, I just have one question. If by any chance Lindelof wasn't unlucky and we won that game, would you be the same to Sharana? I would. I think that I said this at half time. I said even if United go on and win the game, I would still be very critical of that performance, because today was about winning and we didn't, but it was also about showing the fans that we can be up for a game that isn't a big game. And even if we'd won that game, we weren't up for it, and I don't understand that. John Prushman says that Martial needs to take more risks. He's the one with the skills, drive in, draw fouls. His dribbling skills needs to be used to get inside more. Very hard to use dribbling skills when you're the number 9, mate. You're playing with your back to goal a lot. If you want to see Martial taking people on, we've got to put him on the left wing again. And Kushel says, Mark, do you like to even consider the fact that we lack creative players more than Ollie's fault, or a proper dead ball specialist? Yeah, but mate, he's been here a year. Like he's been in the job a year, So, and he's had 2 transfer windows. Now, if it's because they won't buy in players, then he needs to stop saying he's happy with the club, he had the money and he didn't want to spend it. You can't have it both ways. You can only deliver. You can only make an assumption from the evidence that you're given. I agree we haven't got a dead ball specialist, and I agree that we haven't got attacking midfielders. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said this squad was fine and he was happy with it, and money was there, but the players that he wanted wasn't there. So he's gone with this team. De Bruyne again, 2-0, unbelievable. Arsenal's defence is like a bloody apron, unbelievable, a butcher's apron. De Bruyne just runs at them, spreads it across the face of the goal, and Sterling makes it 2-0. And already it's game over. Game over. Absolutely game over for Arsenal. They've blown it apart. Defence like a butcher's apron, and easy work for Manchester City. I really... I mean, there's 5 Arsenal defenders back there. 5 Arsenal defenders and a goalkeeper. And De Bruyne takes 3 of them out of the game and crosses it back to Sterling for a tap-in. Defensively, that is not even schoolboy. It is just dreadful. This is why Arsenal were always going to struggle today. Because defensively, they're awful. And whoever their manager is, they're always going to struggle to win games of football when they cannot defend a picnic from a pack of ants. You know, they just cannot stamp out the danger. It is 2-0. De Bruyne has a goal and assist in the first 15 minutes. And this could get embarrassing for Man City. It could be the end of Ljungberg very, very, very quickly. Because if he gets stuffed here, they're not going to keep him in the job, are they? But too easy for Manchester City. And look, you know what I would say is that this could have happened to United last week. Very easily this could have happened to United last week. But United defend well. And Arsenal don't defend well. It's going to be a long, long night for Arsenal. If you can't defend, you can't win games of football. And Gabriel Jesus is about to get booked. Stuffed like a turkey, says iJohn13. Greenwood should start games. He isn't too young. And Ljungberg in, says Darth Maul. Hi Mark, how are you? Says Forces. Well, to be honest with you, I'm not very happy. I wanted this game to be a little bit more of an even contest, to be honest with you, and I'm just so disappointed with United today. Even Arsenal getting stuffed isn't going to make me feel any better, to be honest with you. But you know, it is what it is. We must try and go again. Manchester United, we've got to go again. I'm fed up of saying that as well. We want 5, says Illa United. I tell you what, if Man City don't take their foot off the pedal, the way Arsenal drop their heads when they're behind, it could get concerning for Arsenal. Let's see. Oh, it's Christmas time. There's no need to be afraid. Unless you're in Arsenal defence and you're going to get absolutely... I was going to say the rape word then, but I'm not. Mendy's just found him there. I don't see a way back for Arsenal, but you never know. It's Christmas time. Maybe you need a Christmas miracle. The guy says, Mark, why do loads of people have an agenda against Luke Shaw and Lindelof? Because people have agendas. They have genders as well. But they do have agendas. Like, you know, nobody's allowed to go in on Lingard because he's come out and said that he's suffering with issues. Yet people call Luke Shaw fat and crap. The same people who stick up for Lingard call Luke Shaw fat and crap. And I'm like, you know, the hypocrisy is what annoys me. Mark, I have to distress by having a cigar. I was happy with Boris. Now this has put a damper on it, says Zayn Miasi. I've got the beer out after a disappointing result. Happy Christmas, everyone, says Zed Jamie. I'm on the beer. I've put a few more in the fridge. That's my evening with you watching this. I must just say as well, please do share the video. There's a share button underneath, and please do subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. We've got a load of watch-alongs coming up next weekend. There's some really good games, actually. Arsenal-Everton Saturday lunchtime, Man City-Leicester Saturday evening, and then Chelsea against Spurs on Sunday at this time, which again will be straight after Man United versus Watford. So a lot of games next week. It is Christmas time, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and get involved. Bottom right-hand corner to do that, and please do share it and help the channel grow. I think this channel is going to be great in the future because everybody's welcome on here, and we do have a good chat and a good debate. We're on 107,500 subscribers at the moment, so we could get to 108 today. Please share it on Twitter and Facebook, and also if you haven't subscribed, bottom right hand corner, you're very welcome. Some of you may not be aware of the channel, so please do subscribe if you are new. And let me just have a quick look. Yep, it remains 1-0. We're also sponsored by the OneFootball app, so please do download it. Link in the video description. It's on Apple and Android. We'll be checking the stats. Well, in fact, let's not just talk about it. Let's have a look at the stats. Arsenal fans might want to cover your ears for this. So, couple of things. OneFootball app. Go to matches. Manchester City versus Arsenal. Pre-match betting. Only 66% went with the Man City win. 28% thought Arsenal could win. Unlucky. Arsenal have had 53% possession, so they're winning on the possession at the moment. Shots, this will hurt Arsenal even more because they've had 2 shots each, but City have scored from both of theirs. Passes wise, it's 110 to 103 to Arsenal. So the funny thing is, Man City are 2-0 up, but Arsenal have actually had more of the ball and more passes. De Bruyne is looking on fire today, says CGC13. There are now 3 inexperienced legends at top clubs. Boards have caught on that legends get more time from the fans, says Mad619 Mitch. I think that's a very good point. I'm going to take a note of that for a future show. I like that. That's very interesting. Dylan Hanafi says that Arsenal are going to win 2-2. Who's going to win the league? Forsk. Well, I predicted Liverpool before a ball was kicked. I'm not going to change my mind on that now. I think it's 100% that Liverpool are looking like they're going to win the league, aren't they? Whether we like it or not, it's looking very, very, very likely. But Arsenal having a lot of the ball here. There's a player down injured off the pitch. And what Arsenal need to do, 2-0 is a dangerous score. What I would say is, look, Man City have probably got this game won and done. But 2-0 is a dangerous score. If you get that 2-1, the crowd will be up for it, and you can have a bit of momentum to get back in it. So let's see what happens. Why have Arsenal got those big white things on their shirt? I can't think of any cup that they've won before. They've got these big central white things on their shirt. Does anyone want to tell me what that's all about? Because they ain't won anything for ages. Dylan says, "Why do you call De Bruyne Fanta Pants?" I'm not gonna explain it. I just do. If you don't get it, I'm not explaining it. Jokes aren't funny if you don't. If you have to explain it, they're not funny. Ronaldo's got two goals today, says Lee Kalov. Fantastic win for Spurs. I don't want to keep saying it, but it was. It's supporting Arsenal Foundation. I thought it would be something to do with that. Fair play. Fair play. It's Christmas time. There's no need to be afraid. Unless you're Arsenal. Arsenal got a tough run of fixtures coming up, Everton away next week. That won't be easy. Fitness and Scripted Sharath says that you missed my super chat. So I'm asking again, who do you think are the top 5 Premier League signings of the decade? Oh, God, I hate these questions. I don't even know. Live comments help me out. And Mark, have you noticed that City players celebrate compared to how they do versus us or Liverpool? Not bothered at all, says Mr. A. I know, because they're mercenaries. They always have been. Kante was a brilliant signing for Leicester. They're the sort of signings I'm thinking about over the last decade. I mean, I don't know, I can't even remember where Leicester got Kante from, but what a signing he was. I think De Bruyne for Man City was a good signing for what they paid for him. I mean, he's, they didn't spend 150 million on him, did they? They spent about 50, so he was a good signing. De Bruyne, Kante, Mo Salah's a fantastic signing for Liverpool for what they paid for him. You'd have to say Mane as well. I'm not going to say Van Dijk because they paid 75 million for him, so you pay for what you get there. I'm more thinking about signings that have been real bargains. So, yeah, Salah, Mane would be considerations. Kante would be a consideration. De Bruyne would be a consideration. I think Jamie Vardy for Leicester's got to be a consideration as well, for where they got him from and the price. So, those would be considerations for me. People saying De Gea, but De Gea was a lot of money when we got him. I'm thinking about, real signings that cost very little money that have gone on to be world class. Andy Robertson for Liverpool, another good one. Unfortunately for United over the last decade, our problem has been not doing that. Of course, Robin Van Persie would have to be in there as well. We paid like 30 million pounds for him and he won us a title. Is Ollie so brilliant? Why was he only at Mulder? Says Joe Stanley. Sanchez to Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, because a decade is a long time as well. Arsenal are on the attack here. Cross comes in. It's it. Guendouzi. Oh, could have got it. Keeper was diving, but it got blocked. What a dive. I'd book him for that. You've got to book him for that. He dived. How is that not a booking from Guendouzi? It's the most biggest dive ever. He'd have won a gold medal at the Olympics for that. Still Arsenal on the attack, but they're nowhere near the penalty box now. Ronaldo to Real Madrid. That wasn't in 2010 though, was it? It was 2009. Last decade tends to be from 2010 to 2020. In a minute. Rocking around the Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. City on the attack with Mendy, whips one in. Arsenal clear. I think in these sort of games, some people might say, well, Arsenal would take this right now, 2-0. But Mark, Ollie needs to go. I don't like how he sits on that seat like he's eating his food, waiting for his food to arrive. And Mark, what's VAR for? Since De Gea didn't get a free kick, United should have been more effective, but VAR cost us today. And I'm out of beer, says Jenks. Well, you're going to get frustrated. I'd say, well, I genuinely do think it was a foul on De Gea, but I also think that United were very poor as well. Arsenal on the attack here with Ozil. Tackled, easy work. Still 0-0. Still, what, 2-0? Well, you wish it was 0-0. I've just bantered a load of Arsenal fans. Still 0-0. No, it's not really. I'm winding you up. It's 2-0 to Manchester City. De Bruyne, fantastic first goal. And the second goal, Arsenal fans, just don't watch Match of the Day tonight because defensively you had 5 players back and De Bruyne still managed to find Raheem Sterling. But it's There's still time left. I mean, I wouldn't be betting. I wouldn't even bet a fiver that Arsenal could get back into this. But you never know. You never know. I do think 2-0 is a dangerous score. I've said it before. And Man City are vulnerable at the back. What do you think about Guendouzi? I think he should get a bloody booking for that. How does he not get booked for that? Disgusting behaviour. He should have got booked. This is the thing. The inconsistency still reigns in football. Basically, Guendouzi runs with the ball and then dives. That's what he does. Shocking behaviour, and it needs to get stamped out. I'll tell you what, that's going to be a very interesting game next week, Arsenal against Everton, because Arsenal need to win that. And the way Everton have been playing, I think it's exactly not the sort of team that traditionally Arsenal want to be playing. They don't want to be playing a team that's going to be really, aggressive and physical with them. And Everton are like that, so it's going to be an interesting one. I think I might do that one as a watch along next week. I'm definitely going to do Man City versus Leicester. Really looking forward to that one. That'll be a real test for Leicester against a decent Man City side. But as things stand, City looking like they're going to get 3 points. I do want to just have a quick look at the Premier League table as well. I think that's important to take a look at as to how things stand. I'll try and avoid Manchester United because it would just disappoint me. But Liverpool top with 49 points. Leicester 10 points behind them in second. Manchester City are currently on 32, but if they win today, they'll go 35, 14 points behind Liverpool. Chelsea still hold on to fourth place with 29 points, but Tottenham are only 3 points behind them with 26, and they play each other next week. United are in sixth place with 25 points, joint with Sheffield United in seventh on 25 points. Wolves are eighth with 24, and then Arsenal are ninth with 22. So that Tottenham-Chelsea game next week is very interesting. Goal difference is only 2 as well. So actually, if Spurs win by 1 goal, Chelsea will still hold on to fourth for Christmas Day. But if Tottenham win by a couple of goals, they will go above them. Massive game. Mourinho back against Chelsea. Apprentice against the master. Mourinho against Lampard. And I think this is the best point from Jason Price. He says, it was a foul on De Gea, but we should have created more. And I think I actually totally agree with that. Ashingwire Mark says, I think all your channels are great. Thanks and keep it up. Thank you, mate. Please do share the video if you're watching. There's a share button underneath. Share it on Twitter and Facebook. And make sure you subscribe if you're new, bottom right-hand corner. I hope you're enjoying the Football Manager career mode as well. Started that on Friday night. There'll be more of that this week as well. And so frustrating seeing Man United playing good against the top 6, but against the small teams, they're not. So Sly, you know what that is? Weak mentality. Raise your game against the little teams. You know, as a United fan, I saw this for years. You go away to Barnsley and they play like Barcelona because they're up for it. And yet the next week they'll go and lose to Brighton. It's the mentality of a small club. It's a small club mentality, and it's so frustrating. But it is known that is how it works, and it's so disappointing when your team is that team. And thanks to Zayn Miassi, he got a shout out, didn't he, on my match reaction, because he was the one with the idea to call Duncan Ferguson a B-Tech Braveheart, so I used it on the match reaction. Unheard Gull says, did you notice with United that they had 10 minutes to score and the players did not show enough urgency? Mate, that Greenwood goal was out of nothing. You've got 10 minutes attacking the Stretford end to win a game of football, and we created nothing. Because we don't know how to break a low block. The only reason we scored is because of an individual bit of brilliance. So I'm just going to read you some of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's quotes. Arsenal have got a free kick here. Ollie said, we're disappointed today, but we have a quarter-final in the Carabao Cup to come on Wednesday, and I have a big, strong squad to choose from. I think there's something he might have said about Haaland. I'm just having a look. We're disappointed we didn't get 3 points. We didn't have the idea to win it towards the end. We kept them on the back foot, and if any team was going to win it, it was us. We came back after the disappointments at half time. You shouldn't concede goals like that at set plays, but it's a foul. There's no point me complaining, but his arms are all over David De Gea. He was going to punch it. Mason Greenwood is different class, and around the box, you're not surprised when he scores goals. It's fitting that he should be an academy player that scores in the 4,000th match, and it makes it hard for me to leave him out. Exactly. We've always had the DNA with added players from other top clubs, and that will always be the philosophy here. Asked if he was in Salzburg on Friday. There's been plenty of speculation, and you know I won't talk about that. But he's had a great career in Salzburg, so he knows what he wants to do. It is so natural if defenders open their legs, he goes through them. If they close, he can bend it around. So many chances are missed by strikers, rushing, stressing. The best ones, they have that little extra half a second he does. Talking about Mason Greenwood. Yeah, I'd agree with him on that. I mean, I don't think that statement from Erling Haaland confirms that... that statement from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer confirms that Erling Haaland is coming to United. I mean, he basically says, there's been plenty of speculation, and you know I won't talk about that, but he's had a great career in Salzburg, so he knows what he wants to do. What does that mean? Doesn't mean he's coming to us. I hope we do get him anyway. But Arsenal here, 10 minutes away from half-time. Struggling a little bit to create chances, which is surprising against the Man City defence like this. Great respect to Leighton Baines today. Oh, there's a further comment here about Haaland. He knows what he wants to do and knows what he's going to do. Interesting. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think he's a good player. Sarath and Fitness and Scripted Strathcombe says, Big Dunk said he took off Keane after 15 minutes because he wanted to waste time. What a prat. Yeah, and the player went straight down the tunnel, didn't he? You've just ruined the confidence of a young player that was probably ruined by your previous manager who got the sack. I did find that a bit odd from Duncan Ferguson. He brought Moise Keane on because Kolasinac has just gone off injured here, which is a blow for Arsenal because they're already missing, what's his name? Tierney. So it's another injury to a left back for Arsenal. But yeah, that Moise Keane, you know, he's a well thought of player. They got him from Juventus. I think they paid relatively decent money for him. And he came on with about 25 minutes to go for Everton. And they took him off with 10 minutes to go. And he walked straight off down the tunnel, which you would do. Getting subbed as a sub. And he hadn't done a lot wrong. I didn't see him do anything that was like, you're shit, mate. So, yeah, I did feel a little bit sorry for him, to be fair. But there you go. Such is life. These things happen. Mark, Ollie in or out, says Deep Sing. Well, I've never said the words Ollie out. What I have said is that I do question his tactical ability, but the club are going to stick by him. So I don't see, I don't see the point in, you know, screaming Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out when I know that nothing's going to happen, and that's 3-0. And it's De Bruyne again. Absolutely different class. De Bruyne again. Bottom corner. Unbelievable that Arsenal are now 3-0 down. It's not even half time. Let's watch it back. It's just simple. Nice little ball into De Bruyne. Turns away from Guendouzi and then bangs it in the bottom corner with his left foot. What a finish. The first foot finished with his right foot. The second goal for him with his left foot. Just absolute top quality, world class. Absolute top quality. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. From an Arsenal point of view, it's game over and it's not even half time. From a Manchester City point of view, what a player they've got in Kevin De Bruyne. But the funny thing is, De Bruyne wasn't around for most of last season, and they didn't, and they won the league. They've had him for most of this season, and they're not going to win the league. So it's a funny old game, football, isn't it? And it's 3-0 to Manchester City, and Arsenal getting absolutely rinsed. I think my score prediction of 3-1 is going to be somewhat inaccurate, because I think City will score again, and it could be a humiliating result for Arsenal, who sacked their manager and seem to get worse. I know they beat West Ham, but I thought West Ham's defence handed it on the plate. Anyway, here's an interesting one for you. Arsenal have taken off Kolasinac and brought on Saka, who I think is going to play as a left wing back, who is a young player who plays on the wing. I mean, talk about baptism of fire. Go and play at left back, mate, in our crappy defence. I know you're a winger, but yeah. And Man City are looking rampant here. What's this going to be then? Let me know. What do you think the score's going to be? City on the attack again here. I mean, oh, it's just so easy for Foden. Oh, what a save by Leno. De Bruyne, if that had been a hat-trick, it would have been amazing. And I've got to say that save by Leno is absolutely superb. Because the fact that it goes on the post from a diving save shows you that it was definitely going to go in. Ben Foden, oh, what a save. What a save by Leno. The curl on this from De Bruyne is excellent. And the save by Leno is just as good. World-class shot, world-class save. That would have been 4. That's just can't stop looking at that shot. They just keep replaying it back. Have we got any Everton fans, Arsenal fans watching? You must be just thinking, can we please end this game now? You can't, no. It's a 90-minute game. That's the rules. You must get absolutely humiliated. But the good thing is, AFTV will be waiting for you all outside to go and have your say. Makes you laugh though, doesn't it, when you get Talk Sport saying that AFTV are so toxic. You can sort of understand why. They don't have a lot to be proud about, do they? And the City are coming forward again here. I suppose it's more about how much City want to just go and score and score and score again. And that's gone out for a goal kick. He's a fantastic player, De Bruyne. Absolutely fantastic. Pissed poor by United today, but we all know we don't have any midfielders to unlock stubborn defences. Massive chance missed again, says Matt Rush. And why wish Pogba was like that, says Sam Offliff. And Ollie out, Freddie in. He's a club legend, says Emperor Caesar. This is a true nightmare on Elm Street with Freddie at the wheel, says Zayn Massey. He's on form today. The reason why I'm certain Liverpool will win the league is because they are winning ugly. That's what champions do. Liverpool haven't smashed anyone this season, says Fitness Unscripted Sharath Kamath. Yeah, they're just totally... The thing about Liverpool is they've got a really strong defence. They've got a load of depth in the midfield, and they've got 3 players up front, 2 of which are world class. So they're just... And they're used to playing with each other as well, and they're totally determined to win the league. So I just don't see it changing, to be honest with you. Cashel says, I can't believe United defeated this City. I can, because the big difference is United can defend. Arsenal can't. If you can't defend against City, you're in trouble. Pogba versus De Bruyne, how close are they in quality, says Cascade L. I don't think they're close at all, because De Bruyne is just very consistent and Pogba's not. So, I mean, I think you can almost say that Pogba and De Bruyne are very reflective of Manchester United and Manchester City. You know, on their day, Manchester United can beat anyone. On his day, Paul Pogba's world class, but Man City are consistent, and De Bruyne are consistent, and that's the best answer I can give. Really, the similarities between the two teams and the two players are very, very similar. Arsenal are a dead club, just liquidate, says Ronaldo Oina. And if Liverpool lose their wing-backs, their backups are non-existent, says Adult. But the thing I've always said this about Liverpool, it's not just about what goes on the pitch. They have this amazing... well, it's not amazing, actually. It's like the Moneyball effect, isn't it? They put a lot of work into who they sign. And you're always going to get injuries, but Liverpool don't get many injuries because they do their homework on the players that they buy. So that, you know, they minimise the chances of injuries as much as possible. Nabil Fekir has had major knee surgery and has never been injured again. But Liverpool didn't want to buy him because there was a chance he could get an injury in the future, so they went elsewhere. That's the sort of signings that Liverpool do. Mark, yes, Pep spent loads of money, but when Man City are on form, they are better than United under Fergie or the Invincibles. He's the best coach ever. His football at Barca was the best ever. Even Fergie admitted it. I disagree. And also, this Man City team is nowhere near as good as the 99 treble team. Fitness Unscripted Sharath Kamath, but I'm sure all of us will agree City have the most talented squad in the world. If Pogba is worth 100 million, De Bruyne would be worth 200 million. Don't think anyone's going to disagree with you on that one. We're nearly at half time, and it's 3-0 to Manchester City. You just have to laugh sometimes at Arsenal, don't you? Zane is only trying to wind us up because his team has played so badly today. It is 1-1. It's not 1-1. I keep thinking of Man United Arsenal. I keep thinking about Man United Everton and winding Arsenal fans up. It is not 1-1. It is 3-0 to Manchester City, who are absolutely dominant in this game. De Bruyne on a different level. Arsenal's defence on a different planet. They're non-existent. Just not very good from Arsenal and predictable. I think this game was always going to be about whether Manchester City turn up or not, and they definitely have. Ollie outclassed this City team. If you can't see Ollie's vision, then you truly have an agenda. Yes, we drew today, but with time, he will get better. Yas aside, I remember your comments on the United stand earlier. You clearly reside right up Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arse. A lot of us don't. So, well done. Well done. We all know where you stand, but a lot of people don't. Mark, you should start membership on this channel. Cool emojis while you play FIFA. Yeah, that was a good idea, actually. And Mark, what lube do you think Pep will rub into his head at half time? Says Ty's 13. I don't think he uses lube. He could use some polish like Mr. Sheen and give it a shine for the second half. But they're comfortable. They're absolutely comfortable. I can't wait for us to play Arsenal, says Ashwath Shankar. What, United? Do you trust United to go and win a game in the future, do you? I mean, you just don't know what United will turn up. We might get beat. We might. Oh, Kevin De Bruyne, says Ray Rocks. I still think we're going to get top four, says Abdul, talking about United. Arsenal fans might as well go to bed. This is torture for you, man, says DK. An Arsenal team should just run outside and not come back, says David Carter. I don't even think even City have played that well, says Blake Timmins. And I think that's absolutely spot on. I think that's absolutely spot on. I actually agree with you there. I don't think Manchester City have actually played that well in that game, and yet they are comfortably 3-0 up. And let's not forget, if it wasn't for a world-class save from Leno, De Bruyne would have had a hat-trick and it would be 4-0 at half-time. And I don't think they've played that well. I really don't. But such is the way it goes. What do you think is going to happen in the second half? I think is most pertinent, really. And I think that the way it could go in the second half is that either Arsenal will just park the bus and try and keep the score down, which could be important in relation to their race for top four, which I don't think they're actually in. Or City could go and absolutely annihilate them and get 5 or 6. Be interesting to see. I think City on the bounce back from losing to in the Manchester derby, they won't want to take it easy on Arsenal. They've got no sympathy for them. They may as well go and try and blast them, and I think that they will do that. So it's going to be interesting. Can Arsenal defend it out? They've done very little going forward, Arsenal. That's the disappointing thing more. You expect you're probably going to concede goals with that sort of defence, but to not create anything against that Man City defence is disappointing. But, we'll see what happens in the second half. I really liked that question somebody asked in the first half, though. What are the top 5 transfers of the last decade? Because we are ending the decade very soon, in a couple of weeks. And with that comes some reminiscing of the last 10 years and team of the decade. We've seen that over the last few weeks. But signings of the last decade, I said that you've got to put Robin van Persie in there because he won the title for United, and it was an amazing signing because to extract him from Arsenal at that time, many people felt it wasn't possible. Thanks to Wenger for letting him go. And he won us the title. I think Jamie Vardy has been a fantastic signing, and Kante as well. For what they paid for those players, you've got to say that they were unbelievably good signings for them. I think Kevin De Bruyne, for his, at the time, he wasn't considered a top class player when they signed him. So he's gone on to be one of the best players in the world. And also, I think from Liverpool's point of view, you've got to say Salah and Mane for where they got them from and what they've become. Roma for Salah and Southampton for Mane, and they are now 2 of the best players in the world. Again, you've got to say they're very good signings. But there's a lot of candidates, to be fair. There are a lot of candidates, and it is interesting. It is interesting, definitely. What else was I going to say? What else was I going to say? Just watching the goal back again. I mean, I thought the first De Bruyne goal was decent. But two. I mean, look, it's from a speculative point of view, it's a shame that the Leno save doesn't go in, because he would have had a first half hat trick and an assist, which would have been one of the best 45 minutes we've seen this season. So it would have been absolutely amazing. But it remains as it is. It remains 3-0 and comfortably in the shoulders of Arsenal. AFTV and popcorn, says Andrew Hall. But, in seriousness in relation to that, I know people say AFTV and chill, and it's funny to watch because Arsenal have lost, but at what point, and I get on with Robbie and I know the lads, but at what point does that become like EastEnders, where it's just, it happens all the time? So where's the value in, like, I think the funny thing about AFTV is that they think they're a big club, but you're so not. So moaning about it, you know, I see you doing it every week. So I've not watched it for a long time, but what have they got to moan at? I mean, I could have told them before kickoff, your defence is crap. Ozil's passed it, so how do you expect to get anything out of this game? But they'll be, oh yeah, we expect it. But I don't think that I just don't know why they would expect to be better than they are. What do you think on the situation of Lyon? Do you think that can happen in United? Does this open the door for Memphis to come back to United? Says Giovanni Lazama. I doubt United would sign Memphis, to be honest. Ali ain't got it. No new signings can change that, says Sully BJ. No, I don't think so. I'd agree with you on that one. I think that I think United are struggling, and I think they're going to put a lot of hope in signing new players. And I don't necessarily think that will make a difference. I hope it does, but I'm just massively disappointed about United today, to be honest. So disappointed with what's happened, and it's just another kick in the teeth for United. And yeah, I'm really disappointed, to be honest with you. And I can't say any more than that. It's just really disappointing. Repetitive, I know, but it's hard to find anger and it's hard to find optimism when you beat Spurs and Man City and then you really struggle to get a point against Everton. It doesn't give you optimism or hope for the future, because you just can't. I said it on my match reaction, you just can't trust this United side. You know, yeah, we can win games. We definitely can win games, but we can also lose and draw games to anybody as well, and that's not consistent. So we can't be consistent, so we can't be considered a team that can win anything, unless it's cups. I suppose we probably do. So we probably do suit that sort of football. But it is soul destroying, and yeah. We're just not good enough. That's the problem. We're just not good enough as a football club, and that's where we're at. And there's so much work that needs to be done, and it's going to take a hell of a long time to get where we need to be. Yeah, chin up, Mark, says Nicktastic. Player of the decade, says Manchester United. Premier League player of the decade. It's tough. I think Aguero's got to be considered. Kante's got to be considered. Yeah. I don't think there's been enough of the decade for someone like a Van Dijk. I think we had a couple more years of it, I think he might be considered. But yeah, I definitely think you've got to go with those on how well they've done. So yeah, I definitely think Aguero or Kante for me would be good. Shouldn't a legend be superb over a long period of time? He was a player who did something incredible, but legend. Keane is a legend. Giggs, Scholes, says K Slater 23. Yeah, I mean that's a very good point. I mean we all call Ollie a legend, but I think if you get into the nitty gritty of it, is he actually a legend? He's a legend because he scored the winning goal in the Champions League final. That's why he's a legend for me. If you take that goal away, he's just a player that played for us very well in our best period from history. What makes Solskjaer a legend is because he scored the winning goal. That's why he's a legend. It's not necessarily because of how good he was. And he was a very good player, but there was a lot of players who were good players. Like, was Solskjaer more impactful than Andy Cole? Probably not really, but he scored that goal. Ollie lacks coaching fundamentals. I'm ashamed that our attacker turned coach does not prioritise composure on the ball or intelligent triangles, says Onyanki and Mika. And wouldn't you take Gareth Southgate as Manchester United manager? No, unheard gull. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. No, never in a million years. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right corner. Bashir says, is Origi going to be a legend? Well, you never know. In 20 years' time, you might call Origi a legend. You don't know. Company, Hazard, David Silva, Aguero, Kante, De Bruyne, says Active Dan, as players of the decade. Wayne Rooney is Premier League player of the decade, says Jamie O'Neill. He was decent at the start of it. He fell away a lot at the end. But yeah, I think Rooney is probably a good shout. I think if it was 2005 to 2015, I think Rooney wins it. Has anyone seen Arsenal? They seem to have gone missing, says Rav D. And Ollie was like Hernandez. Cherokee skills. He was better than that. He's a fantastic player. Fantastic player. Was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for United. I wouldn't hear anything different about that. He really was very, very special indeed. A fantastic finisher, certainly. Arsenal are bad, but they're only 3 points behind us, says Mickey Hines. It's very congested in that area, isn't it? I think you've got your top three of City and Leicester and United and City and Leicester and Liverpool, sorry, and then you've got United and all them lot. And Spurs are trying to close that gap as well, to be fair. Second half's coming in. Ollie's at the wheel. Did you hear about the Napoli thing? Over half the squad will be sold this summer, says Alexi Texas. No, I didn't. And who do you think United will draw in the Europa League, says Basha H. Is that tomorrow? Europa League draws tomorrow, I think, isn't it? So looking forward to that. We'll do a live stream for that, actually. Need to write that down so I remember. Mark, are you doing a watch along for the Champions League draws as Big Man Steve? I might do. Let's have a look at what times. I don't know what days they are and what times they are, but I would consider that. Let's have a look. Ollie was good player and loved the club and played for 12 years. He's a legend, says Nerman Barrage. Interesting top four race, says Johannes Anderson. And remember when people used to say that Martial is better than Origi, says Arads. Well, he is. There's no used to. He is. You know, Origi plays in a very competent attacking footballing side. Martial plays under a Solskjaer. There's a big difference. Origi in our team would be shite, to be honest with you. Lennon 14 says Arsenal tried to play on the front foot and got exposed. I don't think they did. I think they're just crap at the back. Please do subscribe if you're new. Bottom right hand corner, got lots of watch alongs to come up as well, and make sure you're sharing the video. Bet Mark is gutted choosing to do a United stand channel. Should have done a Spurs stand, says Andy Dawson. Yeah, should have supported Spurs. Yeah, realistically, no. I've been doing a United channel for 5 years, but I've been a United fan for over 30 years, and no fan has seen what I've seen, which was 99 live, being able to drink. Nothing tops that. I've been spoilt as a United fan. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't be spoilt more. We're still the biggest club in the world, but I've as I said, if I hadn't seen such riches, I could live with being poor, and that's the problem, isn't it, with United? We know where we should be, and we're miles away. But yeah, we've seen some pretty good stuff. The second half is about to kick off now. Arsenal to kick it off. Can they get a goal? Can they get a goal back? Let's wait and see. Man City are playing in second gear, says Aswing Mark. And Ollie isn't good enough. I'm actually sick and tired of our defenders, says Stephen Stevenson. And Greenwood's better than Pepe, says Young Joe. I don't think there's any doubt about that. At least Greenwood comes on and delivers, doesn't he? Pepe, I like Pepe. He's a good player, but you know it gets to a point where you've got to start delivering, haven't you? And I don't think he delivers enough, if I'm absolutely honest with you. I really don't. And I think he should be doing a lot more, especially in games like this. Right, sit back and enjoy the ride. Arsenal are losing 3-0. Do I think Arsenal can get back into this? No. And I think the thing about Arsenal is that they are... I remember when Arsenal, like even under Wenger, they used to have this issue, and they still got it actually, where they go away to teams like Bolton or, you know, I'm trying to think of northern clubs, and just, or not even northern clubs, it wasn't exclusive to that, but they'd go away and it'd be, oh, look at Arsenal again, they've dropped points, they don't like a battle away from home. But they still were a good team. They still had some really good players, you know, Alexis Sanchez in his prime, Aaron Ramsey. They had some good players, and they were able to, on their day, beat everybody. And they nearly scored there. Decent cross coming in. Aubameyang went up, and it's gone wide. But I don't feel that about this Arsenal team. They're like, I think it's one of the worst Arsenal teams I've seen in probably 20 years. They just don't have enough quality. I think they've got some good young players coming through, but they remind me of United, but I think that they're worse than United. I think that they need something that they haven't got. They need to spend probably £500 million well, and they're never going to do that, and they haven't got quality players. So it's worrying for Arsenal. And, you know, I'm sure there's managers out there that would like the job, but I just don't see any quick fix. This would have been so much better had United won, says Orlando Angling. Oh, tell me about it, mate. Antonio Conte is doing a great job at Inter, and I thought he might have been good for United or Arsenal, says Dusty. Don't argue. I'm not a big fan of Conte, so I can't pretend that I am. I never have been. So yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I am. Martinelli's just gone down injured here, but he's got himself back up again. So what's our score predictions then? I'm going to say that City are going to win 5-1. I think City will score 5. Wow. It is all going to come down to whether whether City do have the impetus to carry on. Vuls says it'll be 5-2. Do you think Arsenal will get relegated, says Aya? No. I think it's absolutely impossible. Arsenal on the attack here. Martinelli, good cross, and City get rid of it. It's absolutely impossible for a team like Manchester United to get relegated. I think Arsenal could get relegated, but they won't. Wild shot there from Torreira. I'll tell you what, though, I always used to like taking the piss out of Ozil, saying he's the invisible man and that, but he actually is really bad, isn't he? I tell you why I'm yawning, Finest Yachtman. I'm yawning because United, that 90 minutes for United was one of the tiringest games. You should not have that when you're watching your own club. You should be excited. And I was absolutely exhausted by it. You put so much... I think you get so excited and you have so much expectation, and then you just see yourself getting physically drained watching Manchester United. It's so hard to do. Could Man United get Aubameyang? No. I mean, by the looks of it, we're going to get Erling Haaland, aren't we? So we won't be looking at another one. We beat this City team at home, says Labiel. Yep. But Labiel, I think a few people have said this, and I don't think Man City are even playing. I'm going to tweet this, actually. Funny thing is, Man City are not even playing that well. And yet they're hammering Arsenal. So I can see why United. I think United would still beat this team because I still think you can get at their back four. Here's Martinelli. He looks like Arsenal's best player, to be fair. And now Man City again on the break. There's a ball on down the line to De Bruyne, and he's going to run it. He's got Guendouzi. What a ball by De Bruyne. There's space here for Man City. And over the bar from Gabriel Jesus. But the ball by De Bruyne to take out 3 Arsenal players again was fantastic. AZ beat Ajax, apparently. There we go. Please do download the OneFootball app. The link is in the video description. It's free on Apple and Android. And I'm just going to check the stats out for you now. But links in the video description. It's free on Apple and Android. You can follow your club, get all your latest news on one app. And obviously it gives you all your stats in-game as well. So I'm just going to go in there on matches. In the second half, you can start voting for your man of the match as well. And as I go on to Arsenal versus Manchester City, you won't be surprised that a lot of people have voted for Kevin De Bruyne. But on the stats page, still 50-50 possession-wise, which is quite interesting. Shots-wise, Arsenal have had 5 and Manchester City have had 6. Total passes 324 to 306. Arsenal 306 and Man City 324. Not many corners in this game. Only 2 to Arsenal, 1 to Manchester City. But it remains 3-0. I'm not convinced that Jesus is a long-term replacement for Aguero either. Quid est Veritas. I don't rate Gabriel Jesus that much. I don't. I think he's good. I don't think he's, Aguero's world class. Gabriel Jesus, no. I could think of 10 better strikers in the Premier League than Gabriel Jesus. I don't think he's amazingly good. I think he's decent, but Aubameyang's way better. Rashford's better. Obviously Aguero's better. Vardy's better. I think I've said it before. He's the Brazilian Callum Wilson. He's that sort of a level for me. I don't think he's any better than that. Mark, do you know why we can't get Man United shirts with Europa League sponsorship on them? Says AH Games. I don't. Somebody in the live comments may know. I don't. I'm just going to check out when the Champions League draw is, because nobody bothered to tell me. Probably tomorrow at midday. Bum 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 bum. Champions League. City on the attack again. De Bruyne, why did they stand off him? It's a good block, but they just stand off him and let him shoot. They're mad. They're absolutely crazy, this Arsenal defence. They're so reckless. Space to run at, definitely. So the Champions League draw is tomorrow at midday for the Champions League. And the Europa League draw is on Monday, tomorrow at 1 PM. So 2 draws tomorrow, 1 PM and midday. There you go. Bernardo Silva's come on for Phil Foden. I mean, that's something we've not even discussed today, actually. The two teams' lineups. And Foden starting for Man City is a big deal for them, isn't it? Doesn't always start. The teams as the lineup are this. You got... I don't know why I'm on the Wolves game. I don't want to be on the Wolves game. I want to be on the Man City game. So Leno, Maitland-Niles, Chambers, Socrates, Kolasinac, who's gone off injured for Saka, Guendouzi, Torreira, Pepe, Ozil, Martinelli, Aubameyang. Lacazette's on the bench, of course. And Manchester City have gone with Ederson, Walker, Otamendi, Fernandinho, Mendy, Rodri, Gundogan, Sterling, De Bruyne, Foden, and Gabriel Jesus. Which, you know, if you're an Arsenal player, they didn't start Bernardo Silva, no David Silva, no Aguero. So 3 of their better players and a weak defence, and they've still had no problems at all in dealing with Arsenal. So it's funny, isn't it? There you go. Would you take Guendouzi at Manchester United's Charlie role? I mean, it's a good question. I would have taken Guendouzi at Manchester United, but I actually don't think that I will now, to be honest with you. Because I think he's been pretty poor recently, hasn't he? But I do actually think he's all right. But the last few games I've watched him, I think he's been really poor. Alondo Anglin says, possession football is crap. Should have drawn Everton onto us and countered them. At least we would have had one and everyone would still be happy. I wouldn't even call United's style of play possession. It was, well, we did have about 70% possession, but I don't know what we did with it. It was shocking, really. Ooh. Ozil's coming off. Did he even play? It's just, I don't know what, I don't get it with Ozil. I mean, there was times when I would have loved him to come to Manchester United, but he's just, I don't know whether he's just not interested in football anymore. I don't get it. I mean, he's just kicked his gloves away. But I suppose it shows he cares. Emirates Walking Dead says Ill United. Awful news around Daily Blind if it's true, says Lily. What is the news around Daily Blind? Got me worried there as an ex-United player. I don't want it to be anything horrible. Oh, there's talk about Daily Blind having a heart attack. Oh, that's terrible. I'm just looking on Twitter. Okay, so right, this may be true, it may not be. So apparently Daily Blind collapsed to the ground against Valencia out of nowhere. He's not playing today, and Ten Hag couldn't say anything about his situation, and people think there might be something with his heart, because what happened against Valencia was really scary. So it's not like he's collapsed and died or anything like that, which was what, because I knew they were playing AZ Alkmaar today. It looks like it's something that happened the other night, and he might have problems. But, you know, I read Michael Carrick's autobiography over Christmas last year, and he had something quite similar as well. So it was a heart condition, and he still came back and played. So you don't know. I must admit, my heart sank there for a bit. I was thinking, oh God, you know, You think about all these players that has actually happened to when they're actually playing. Half an hour to go. Still 3-0. Ozil's departed. Oh, Man City are going to score a fourth here. Jesus, what a save by Bernd Leno. He absolutely saves the blushes of... I think it was Callum Chambers, wasn't it? Trying to play it out from the back. It was a one-on-one for Gabriel Jesus. And now, Arsenal might have a break here with Guendouzi. He needs some support. He's going to get it from Pepe, who's going to want a free kick and get a free kick. It's a yellow card for Mendy. I didn't hear about Jesus is not better than Rashford or Martial, says Tommy Bejet. And get well soon, Blind, an amazing professional footballer. Freddie at the wheel, says Pablo Hernandez. Tactical foul, says Radmagan. Charlotte Sims, there's a fight on the touchline. I don't know. We haven't seen that, Charlotte. I don't know. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. We're nearly on 107,500. We're about 7 away. So please do subscribe if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. We've got some good watch alongs coming up for you next week. Everton Arsenal, Saturday lunchtime. Man City Leicester, Saturday tea time. And Chelsea Spurs, Sunday this time next week. So subscribe if you're new. Everybody's welcome on here. And please do share it as well. There's a share button underneath. A bit of an argument going on about whether Gabriel Jesus is better or bad. I just don't rate him that much. He's good, but as I said, he's the Brazilian Callum Wilson. He's no better than that as far as I'm concerned. Elijah Emmanuel says Arsenal are going to win 4-3. Well, they better get a bloody move on then, because they're 3-0 down. Pepe with a shit cross there. Arsenal fans fighting each other, says Charlie Sims. I mean, that's what worries me a little bit with all this stuff that has been stirred up by TalkSport. You just wonder, like, whether fans start turning on each other. I think it's really bad. Really bad. Will Collins, I think Daley Blind's okay. This is to do with an incident on Thursday night. So there's talk that he might have a heart problem. It's not something that's happened in the game today. It's not one of those unfortunate and tragic things where they're playing and they're worried that they might be dead. He didn't play to go. Pepe is incredibly average, says Joe Stanley. Spurs are on the up. They are on the up, Spurs. Very impressive win for Spurs today, I've got to say. I thought that had a draw written all over it. And they've gone and got the win. So fair play to them for that. Wolves is a hard place to go. Well, to be fair, it is a hard place to go. I thought Wolves' bubble was going to burst a little bit this season, but they have got themselves up into that race for top 4, and fair play to them for that. But Spurs very impressive. And am I right in thinking Mourinho's had 5 games in charge now and he's won 4? So yeah, obviously we're disappointed not to beat United and to lose to United, but ultimately he's ahead of United now. So and I think that's the key, isn't it? It's consistency. You can win the battle, but you don't win the war. Ozil walks off the pitch, nothing. Xhaka does, there are riots, says Jordan Such. Exactly. Orlando Anglin says, Mark, please let's take it game by game and stop saying United have an easy run. Need to learn our lessons with this United team. Immortal Gaming, I agree with you. He says that, you know what, City were better last week than they are today. And I do agree with you with that. Ollie out in the morning? No, it's never going to happen, mate. Never going to happen. De Bruyne FC versus United versus Standoff FC, says Jake. City were better last week than today. That's spot on. City on the attack again here with Mendy. Mahrez is going to come on now. Arsenal's next 4 points, I can't see them no other than hovering around the bottom three, says Sarah Garland. Now, if I remember the next 4 games, they've got Everton away, Bournemouth away, Chelsea at home, and United at home. So, yeah, they're gonna have to do something to start winning some games of football, aren't they? Because I just don't think they're playing well. But I think Arsenal. I said this before about Arsenal. They sacked Emery because they felt they had to sack Emery, but I don't think they had any plan to sack Emery. Really, I think they thought they'd get through to the end of the season. And in hindsight, they probably should have done that because, yeah, Emery was doing bad, but they were 5th at the time, and I think he would have kept them in a fight for top 4. By getting rid of Emery, they've made things worse. They're worse under Ljungberg than they were under Emery, and I don't think the manager they want, I don't think they want to get until the summer, but they'll be forced to go for a manager now, which means that they might make a mistake in what they do. I personally think Ancelotti would be good for them, but there are a lot of Arsenal fans who don't want him. Gundogan's coming off for Mahrez. If the board has any competence, they would sack Ollie before top 4 is gone, says Rash Alert. Manchester United board is totally behind Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so I don't see that. "20 minutes to go. Anybody got any good topics we can talk about?" I'm not pissed off. I don't know why my words are slurring. I'm probably just tired. "The lack of fight from Arsenal is astonishing, yet fan channels like AFTV will be accused of spreading negativity. Nothing to be positive about, Mark," says Mr. A. Exactly. "I've never seen a more dead game," says Jens Borville. It's been over for, I think the second half, it's about Arsenal trying not to get smashed, isn't it? It's been over for a very long time. As Els Vlog says, the game's done. United need a number 10 in January. Lingard and Pereira ain't good enough, and looks like Pogba is going to leave. Not in January. Aislan Isaac, he'll go in the summer. Mark, 5 out of the 6 wins Manchester United have had in the Premier League, they have had at least possession than the opponent, says Neem Yassin. Well, it's plan A, isn't it? Manchester United's plan A is to hit teams on the break, and if teams will let us do that, we're good. With Ancelotti's sacking recently, I don't see why he wouldn't be a contender for the Arsenal jobs. It's hilariously ridiculous gaming. I know. Mark, goals we've conceded this season has been mostly from corners, says Karshel. And where do you think Zayn gets his money from, says Daniel? I don't know. I think Zayn's disappeared, hasn't he? Because of he's taken a massive L again. Mark, goals we've... Yeah, okay, I've read that. What's your issue? What's your stance on the AFTV and TalkSport issue? I've spoken about it before. So basically, the accusation against AFTV is that they're toxic purposely. It's all about doing it on purpose, and they feed the division in the fan base. Two things for me on this, and I totally side with AFTV, even though Arsenal are a banter club. The first thing is that TalkSport after this game will be asking people to phone in and say, should Lundberg be sacked tomorrow? So they're just as bad, and they're not even Arsenal fans. And the second thing is, how can Arsenal Fan TV divide the fan base? The fan base is divided, much like the United base is divided, because of what happens on the pitch. If Arsenal were winning every week, Arsenal Fan TV would not be able to divide the fan base. So fan bases are divided based on what's happening on the pitch. If the team are doing well, everyone's going to do well. Everyone's going to be happy. If the team is crap, then people are not going to be happy. It's as simple as that. Aubameyang's non-existence as Redder Diamond. Well, he just had a shot there from a long ball over the top, and it would have been a fantastic finish, but it wasn't. There's not going to be an 8 o'clock show, Daniel, because we've got loads of fan cams coming through. So they're all going up on the United stand at the moment. There's a few up already, and there's my match reaction. Matt, I'm not. I would like to see Zayn Miassi on AFTV, says Louis Spall. And divide and conquer, says Dennis Courier. But people who don't like fan content will jump all over it, which is what we've seen. People with a brain will realise what I've just said there is true. You can't divide and conquer a fan base if your team is doing well. It's as simple as that. And remember, I run a fan channel, so I know this. Like, I've had United do well and I've had United do bad, and the reality is the divisions come from people, you know, even when Van Gaal should have been sacked, even when Mourinho should have been sacked, there are still fans that were sticking by him. So you end up with a divided, toxic fan base. That's where the division comes from, because there are fans who will always win, lose or draw, I'm sticking with the team, and, you know, I'm always going to see the positives. And then there are some fans that, you know, see the light very, very early and are like, no, I'm not backing this, it's a joke. So that's where you get your divided fan base. But if the team are doing well, you get very few fans that are moaning. So the team drives the division. It doesn't matter who you are. The team divides it. Swindon Town Donny says, I've been binge watching your Football Manager series, Mark. The Football Manager 19 series, yeah. I've only done one episode of Football Manager 20, but I will do another one. Well, I'll do a few this week. But in fairness to Lundberg, I don't think getting beaten 3-0 by Man City is a reason to say get rid of him. I think the reason to get rid of him was because he couldn't beat Norwich and Brighton. And Steve Wynyard's right. Without fan channels, fans would still be divided. Of course they would. Football's been going on for however long, you know. Fans have always been divided. They just maybe didn't have a platform to share it socially. Robert X Mugabe 666 says, is there any part of you that hopes Ollie loses during Man United matches? Surely the sooner he's gone, the sooner the process of rebuilding can start. No, not really. I wanted United to win desperately today because I want United to play in the Champions League. So I suppose that answers the question. I always want United to be playing the big games, and if you're not in the Champions League, you're not playing the big games. So I don't want us to lose. There has been games where I think a draw papers the cracks, and sometimes losing is better than drawing because a draw is a point and it papers the cracks. So there has been times where I thought, oh fuck, we've got a draw out of that game. And I remember under Van Gaal when Rooney broke the goal scoring record with a cracking goal, and it sort of went a bit viral because people were like, look at his celebration for Rooney breaking the goal scoring record. And it was petulant. I was just very angry because I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, that's Van Gaal staying in a job now. I think it was January when it happened, wasn't it? And I'd been Van Gaal out for a month, and I was like, that goal keeps him in the job for a little bit longer now. And I was like, at that point, I was like, I'd rather, if we're not going to win, I'd rather lose. Draws are just, not many managers get sacked after a draw. So I've had that a couple of times. Mega Controller 26. There you go, I've done it for you. Solskjaer is the modern day Brian Robson. Great footballer, but isn't management material, says Tyrone Williams. Interesting, yeah. And Thomas Williams says, it's not Ollie's fault, we're a shambles top to bottom. But I think I would take you back to what was just said there. All right, it's not Ollie's fault, we're at shambles from top to bottom. But the more pertinent question is to all these people who defend him, is he a decent coach? Because Brian Robson was a world-class player who tried to be a manager and just couldn't do it. You're not a top-class manager just because people want you to be. You've got to actually be it. Otherwise, every single player that's played the game and wants to be a manager would be a success. Like, there is a skill to being a top manager, and has Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got those skills? And I think that's where the jury is out. Alex Colston says, Arsenal are honestly dire. There is no saving them. I think their heads are gone, haven't they? They've got no confidence. And they also know that they're nowhere near as good as Man City, who I just don't think Man City have been that good today. I don't. I think that they've... I'm going to watch Die Hard tonight. I always watch Die Hard at Christmas, and I was trying to figure out when I'm going to get to sit and watch it, because I don't like doing this whole half a film thing. That's why I've not watched The Irishman yet, because I refuse to do a film over a couple of nights. You should watch a film in one sitting. So I haven't had the time to watch it yet, but I'm going to watch Die Hard tonight. Claude was right. Stan Kroenke should be on Crime Watch, says Zayn Miassi. Similar problems to Manchester United, isn't it? It's that owner thing. Here's a stat from Funky Fruities. He says Arsenal have scored in their last 20 home matches. LFC Matt says, you're so entertaining, I don't even support United. I just watch United stand stuff because I genuinely find it entertaining. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. And John Hamby says the defence has cost us once again. It's amateur stuff. And I think you're very right there. As a United fan who watched us beat Man City last week, the reason we beat Man City is because, well, we didn't keep a clean sheet, but we defended really well. And if you defend well against Man City and stop them scoring before you score, you've got a great chance of winning it. Loads of Arsenal fans leaving. I think they all know it's done, isn't it? Carl Walker's on a forage forward here. But interception. Well, we're going to do Arsenal versus Everton next week, Saturday lunchtime, as a watch-along. So it'll be interesting to see what Arsenal can do against a different side, I suppose. I still think Everton will give them a few problems. Which is better, Die Hard 1 or 2? Will you watch both? Says Steve Wynyard. I was thinking, it was funny, Steve. I was only thinking about that this morning. Because I thought I'm going to watch Die Hard tonight. And I watch Die Hard every year at Christmas. It's a tradition. But I can't remember the last time I saw Die Hard 2. Which is also set at Christmas and has actually got snow in it. So the more Christmassy one is Die Hard 2 because there's snow in it. But I always watch Die Hard. Die Hard's the better one for me. Can't do the El Clasico watch along on Wednesday, Oliver, because United are playing. So, yeah, it's a shame. I did want to do it, but Arsenal are playing Colchester. Sorry, United are playing Colchester, aren't they, in the Carabao Cup? I'm doing Chelsea Spurs next week as well. I'm going to do 3 Premier League watch-alongs next weekend. Well, the plan is to do 3. Arsenal Everton Saturday lunchtime, Man City Leicester Saturday tea time, and then Chelsea Spurs on Sunday afternoon. Freddie Lundberg has the same haircut but could do with some John McClane spirit, says Zayn Miassi. 7 minutes to go. If you want some snow, come to Calgary, says Dennis Curry. I'll tell you what, we've had so much rain this last 3 months in UK. It's been ridiculous. It's never stopped raining. Rank the Home Alones in order, says Andrew Morrison. Well, I don't watch anything beyond Home Alone 2. So in second place, it's Home Alone 2. And in first place, it's Home Alone 1. Apparently, Elf's on tonight, on ITV. Some good films. Like Rogue One was on last night. And I bloody missed it. I really like that film. New Star Wars film out this week. I still don't even know if I'm going to watch it, which is ridiculous for me. I've got to find some place to watch it. I'm going to have to go and watch it. JT Music FTW says, at least score, Arsenal. They're teaming out. Oh, Robin van Persie. Oh, Robin van Persie. Oh, do Dortmund versus Leipzig on Tuesday. See our new manager, says Dave Jordan. I don't know what club you're on about, Dave. United versus Colchester is not on TV, Mark, says Jordan Henderson. I'm sure there's a way to watch it. And it cheers me up a bit because no matter how bad we do, you can count on Arsenal to top it, says Stephen Stevenson. To be honest, I think the best thing I did after doing my match reaction was watching this because it's just took my mind off how disappointed I am, and I really am disappointed. Please subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. I'll shout that out. Rogue One's on again tonight. Oh, I'm going to watch it, Harry Taylor. Bruce Willis in the bin. Bruce Willis. I've had a few drinks. Bruce Willis has been in the mud for Rogue One. I just love that bit where Darth Vader kills them all in the ship. It's just, I remember watching it in the cinema, I was like, holy shit, what a cameo. City have been shit second half, haven't they, really? Anush says, are we a comedy team, Mark? And I support Arsenal, by the way. You know what? I think you're beyond comedy. I think you've become like a tragedy, really. You were banter because you were a good side that, you know, bottled it. I don't even think you're a good side anymore. I actually... Can I just do what I hate as a United fan? I feel sympathy towards you. And that's... You never want that. I hate it as a United fan when people say, oh, it's terrible what's happened to you because, you know, as much as we don't want you to do well, you know, United should be in the Champions League. And that's sympathy. I don't want sympathy. And I do feel sympathy for Arsenal because I don't think these bad results are down to what it used to be down to, which was just, you know, your players are bottlers. A lot of these bad results now are down to the fact that your players are not good enough. And that's even harder to change. You're just not a very good team. You're nowhere near the top six, and you don't deserve to be. And that's, you know, at times I felt that that's United, but I do think United are better than Arsenal. And I know we're playing a New Year's Day, which is why I'm disappointed we didn't get those extra 2 points today, because I think it would be nice to be playing you with a buffer of at least 5 or 6 points, so that if we do lose to you, don't go above us, because that would be really embarrassing. Yeah, Champions League draw tomorrow and the Europa League draw. Don't forget that. In fairness to Arsenal, though, I never expected them to win today. I think it would have been... They could have won today. Not in the evidence there, but before the game, if Arsenal had won, I wouldn't have been shocked. But they've never looked like winning it. I think for Arsenal, they've got to start getting points against the likes of Everton and Bournemouth and Chelsea over the next 3 games, and United as well. And if they don't take many points from them, then they're in really, really, really big problems. But it's been a through the motions second half, hasn't it? DK's right, it's been a bit like a testimonial match. It's been poor. I think Arsenal just didn't want to get smashed, and Man City just didn't have the motivation to just go on and, you know, keep their foot on the on the pedal. And Evan Scannell, Aswin Mark says, this is a strange game. Arsenal just gave up after 29 minutes. And Evan Scannell says, who would be your ideal replacement for Ollie if we sacked him tomorrow? I don't know. You know, apathy is starting to even creep in with me now. I don't know. I'm not convinced Pochettino's the right man, and I've said that, and I'd be such a hypocrite if I said anything different. I'm not convinced by Pochettino. If we gave him the job, I'd back him, but I'm not convinced that his style of play suits United, because he's not really somebody who plays with width. So Man City could get a third here. De Bruyne's coming forward. Let's give it to Sterling, who hasn't scored today and hasn't scored today again. Puts it wide. Would have been another assist for De Bruyne. Can Atletico win La Liga, says Anush. I thought Atletico were doing bad. I don't know, I haven't looked at the league table. Of course Sterling scored. I'm an idiot. I've had too many beers in the second half. It's been such a boring second half. Just been drinking beer. He scored the tap-in from De Bruyne to make it 2-0. Who's my favourite academy player of all time, says Nerman. Well, I loved Beckham, so he's got to be in the conversation. Beckham, really, for me. I don't think he's the best. I think Scholes and Giggs were better than Beckham, but I did really like Beckham, so probably Beckham. Got another minute to go, and then Arsenal can be put out their misery. I mean, it's empty at the Emirates. I don't know how Immortal Gaming's saying full time 3-0 when there's still a minute to go. It doesn't matter how slow this stream is. We're not a minute behind. Thanks everyone who's tuned in for this anyway. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. My Football Manager career has started on here. We do watch-alongs, previews, general conversation. So do get involved. Everybody's welcome here. It doesn't matter who you support. And we're building a decent community. So keep getting involved. And that is full time. I went into a daydream there. It's been so boring. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do smash a like on the video and keep getting involved with the channel. Easy work for Manchester City. Easy win, 3-0. And it's not 4-0 Gwilyn Garrigan. There was no extra goal added on. Thanks everyone for tuning in. You can go and check out our match reactions and fan cams on the United Stand. I know a lot of you will be watching AFTV, but they won't have them up that quick. If you want to go and check out some fan cams and match reactions, get yourself over to the United Stand. There's quite a few come in while we've been live on here. Saeed's had enough. People backing Ollie. One of them saying give him time. I mean, I just can't even believe it. But go and check them out on the United Stand. And I'll speak to you all soon. Thank you, everyone. I'll be watching Die Hard tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. But go and check the fan cams out.